Scott Galloway on how to help young males ditch parasites trolling off despair and anger. Hey, you know all those people that are saying things that you notice that you thought you were crazy for a while? You thought you were the only one who noticed? Yeah, well, you shouldn't support them. You should go back onto the plantation. All right, Scott Galloway's new book, Notes on Being a Man, has critics seething. Yeah, I got a better idea. How about just ignore these idiots? They thrive on attention, even if it's negative. Don't give them that. He's a gender essentialist, and whammons are here for men's pleasure, misogynies in polite disguise. While according to journalist Taylor Lorenz, Scott Galloway is a raging misogynist who pushes a toxic worldview. What is invited is woke pylon, simply advising on how to be a better man, better citizens, better mates, and better fathers. I guess this depends. I guess this all depends. What do you guys think? Is his advice going to be when he's talking about, what was it here? Yeah, parasites trolling off despair and anger. Is the advice going to be stop giving any sort of credence to the, I guess, misinterests on both the right and the left? Or is it going to be, hey, you know, all of these like manosphere type guys that have actually been successful? Well, they're competing with me. I don't like that. So stop listening to them and come to me instead. All right, that young men are falling behind their female peers in their indoctrination, careers, and social lives is no longer up for debate. Why then is a successful older man reaching down with advice so offensive? Well, I think he's going to warn you about people who capitalize, who try to like manipulate you. And meanwhile, I mean, that's how he was making his fortune, right? By manipulating them in the opposite direction. We'll see. Love him or hate him, it's a relief that Galloway 61 is rising in the ranks of young male punditry. If we shame productive, moderate voices, we risk leaving the door open to toxic influencers, leading insecure young men towards victimhood instead of empowerment. So he's of the we can't be as bad as them variety, right? What I'm trying to do here is give a population that's struggling an aspirational framework. Galloway, a self-made entrepreneur, NYU Stern professor, and podcaster, told the Post. Everyone needs a code. Some people get it from religion, from family, from the military, from the workplace. But I would say there's a lot of young men right now who are codeless. No, they're just getting it from sources you don't approve of. Galloway provides them a straightforward fatherly advice. Don't follow your passion professionally. That's actually good advice. Find out what you're good at and follow your talent. The rewards and recognition that stem from being great at something will make you passionate about that something. That's a lie, by the way. It might be true for some people, but for others, like it'll just forever be the thing they pay their bills with and nothing else. Although that will help making or building up a work-life balance at least, because no one's going to want to work overtime on that shit. So another, if you're in your 20s, be mentally and physically a warrior. And a third, men should always strive to make women feel safe. Yeah, and here comes the mangina. Yeah, you're not a real man unless you're worshiping vagina. Well, do you realize that these women will never feel safe as long as we're around them? I'm all for this. Yeah, let's make them feel safe by leaving them behind. That's what they want. I say we do it. Essentially, work hard to take care of yourself, take care of others. That's a model of masculinity that's self-aware but not self-conscious, that embraces aspects of tradition but is reactive to our evolving social realities. That's actually not bad advice in a void. Work hard, take care of yourself, take care of others. It's that last part, the take care of others, like that's what's changing. Instead of whammons who don't even appreciate them and in fact look down on them, these guys are going to be taking care of themselves. And by themselves, I mean other guys like them. I mean, obviously, take care of yourself is already there. The guy's work is somewhat evocative of Jordan Peterson's current year -8 book, 12 Rules for Life, in that it's a resounding success at providing advice as simple as clean your room. That's how rudderless young men are. Give them the basics and they'll send your book to the top of the New York Lies bestseller list. We've covered this so many times. All you need to get to the top of the New York Times bestseller list is maybe 10, 20 friends and a little bit of coordination. And yet, predominantly female critics are offended the book is just not for them. Why make this about manhood? Even the Boy Scouts have gone co-ed. And that's why. Because every space is now toxic towards men. Yeah, I agree or disagree with this Calloway guy. I mean, or Galloway. I mean, he's got a reason to do it this way. Not everything has to be about women, even though he would actually disagree, since his one of his fucking three main points is about women. We have adopted an inflexible worldview in which women are always suffering under a patriarchy. We insist that girls are in need of help, that boys are just fine. It's time to update our priorities. American women are earning the majority of degrees at every indoctrinational level up through the doctorates. They're dominating more white-collar sectors. They're living longer. They're far less likely to die from a drug overdose or self-minecrafting. Although they will threaten to do so a lot more often. It's unclear where Galloway's critics suggest young men are facing this reality turn. They're not supposed to. They're just supposed to suffer in silence until they end it. That's how we're looked at by the rest of the world. They want them to go away to suffer silently in a haze of prawn and weed smoke. Actually, yes. Maybe the wrong messenger for this message. Galloway told me people see 61-year-old white guys start advocating for men. They recognize a pattern that usually means they're about to blame women for men's problems. See, and that's where I break rank with a lot of these guys, because I think this is all men's fault in the end. Maybe not you as an individual man, but collectively, this is men's fault. If men as a collective decided to put an end to feminism, feminism would be over before we even have finished the thought. It's done. So it's men, it's simps that keep perpetuating this shit. So no, women aren't at fault. They're just doing what they know they could get away with. This is just the opposite of what he's doing. He speaks to his overwhelmingly young and male audience. In fact, he always says young men are unsavable when they start blaming women for their romantic problems or immigrants for their economic problems. Oh, let me guess. Now he's going to defend the H-1B visa invasion too. His message is one of agency. You think you can't get ahead. You're probably not working smart enough. You think you're an incel. There's no doubt room to improve yourself. If you got $200, you're not an incel. That's all there is to it. If you work out regularly, you're willing to take risks and approach someone and express romantic interest while making them feel safe. You have a job. You're already in the top half of men. And you're not going to be in the top half of men for long when you get divorce struggle snuggled, though. Perhaps Galloway isn't your cup of tea, whether it's his X-rated jokes or his anti-Orange Man views that turn you off. But it's a godsend he's managed to break through to aimless young men. No, he hasn't. So this is just the media trying to prop this guy up as if he's anywhere near the level of like fucking Tate or Sneeko or Fuentes, even though all of them have had massive fallings off for various reasons. Galloway complains in his book about fake men selling distorted versions of what it means to be a man without naming them. I will. Nick Fuentes, Hayden McDougall, Sneeko, and their fellow extremist streamers. By extremist, you mean, people that are actually just normal, at least until the feds buy them out. Men are facing challenges, but I think some of them feel entitled, so they get angry. If he isn't making millions of dollars by the time he's 25, he feels like he's a failure because he's consistently getting people's wealth vomited on him 210 times a day through notifications. This is where the toxic streamers come in, speaking to the same target demographic as Galloway, but delivering a message of resentment rather than resolve. So this is a difference between fight against the system that's fucking you versus keep letting it fuck you and just get used to that dick up your ass. Hey, if you learn to just accept that dick up your ass, it becomes a lot more tolerable. We need politically sane people to speak the truth about modern masculinity so the extremist influence don't take advantage by dishing out forbidden knowledge when they appeal to male struggles. Yeah, and these guys' solution is just a light version of the left. So they're parasites trolling off of despair and anger, and it would be difficult for me to imagine a more unhealthy influence. Your blessings minus your envy is your happiness. I do agree with everything. Do I agree with everything Galloway says? No, but was all his advice relatable to me? No. And that's the point. I'm not a young man in need of help, and neither are the vast majority of Galloway's critics. I simply don't know what it is to be a young man of my generation. But I do know that I'd rather a confidently masculine, self-made businessman be the role model than a misogyny streamer or no one at all. This is clearly a whammin's perspective. Yeah, I'd rather a controllable gynocentric cuck be the role model for all these men, as opposed to these guys that are actually speaking more for them than for me. Of course, a whammons would say that. And it speaks volumes that, according to Galloway, the biggest supporters of his book have been single mothers of sons, whammons whose households lack positive male influence. Whose fault is that? But yeah, a lot of these whammons, they at least want to make sure that their sons are successful enough that they could be taken care of in their old age. Like that's their number one priority. We all have a vested interest in forging better men, whether it's a matter of our sons flourishing or a dating pool widening or our economy booming. So you're literally admitting that, hey, maybe we did need men. Now, for his part, Gao isn't deterred by criticism. He says more men like him need to step up for young men who aren't their sons. So when are you actually going to speak out against feminism a little bit more then? I can tell you, mentoring young men is one of the easiest things in the world. These guys make such bad decisions left to their own devices. Just being present, just taking interest in their life is a huge value add, he said. If you want better men, then we have to be better men. Yeah. This dude is ending on like this very feminine take. Oh, yeah, boys are just naturally stupid and they're just do stupid things unless they have us whammons to hold their leashes. No, it's when left to their own devices, they will eventually start noticing. That's what you guys are scared of. You're scared of the noticing.